Howdy. I'd like you to think back for a moment. What do you remember about your elementary school science experiences? If you're like most people, chances are that you don't remember very much. And that's because science has long been a neglected subject in the elementary grades. The reasons for this are many, but one of the primary reasons is that there are curriculum pressures to teach language arts and mathematics. And since 2001, with the passage of the No Child Left Behind Act, which mandated testing in language arts and math, the time for science has plummeted in elementary years. What we see now is nationwide, the average number of minutes per week that science is taught in the elementary grades is 19 minutes. And that number is falling. 1/3 of elementary teachers report that they don't teach the subject at all, and another third report that this is the subject that they feel least confident in teaching. What we see in the state of Texas is actually worse than that, because the high stakes tests here have very high consequences associated with them, and there's even more pressure to teach language arts and math because those subjects are tested, and science does not appear on the tests until grade 5. As a result, many teachers in the state of Texas report that they don't teach science at all in grades K through 4. My research is studying the landscape of elementary science and how it's taught. And we're at a different crossroads now. So we saw this plummet occur after 2001, and now we have a situation where the field is changing again. And it's changing again in this landscape of STEM. You may have heard the phrase STEM before. It's all over the place. One of the things, STEM is an acronym, and it stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. And this acronym is actually being encouraged to be part of the science curriculum. So nationwide, we have many states that have adopted standards that include engineering now in the science curriculum. And teachers are being encouraged to do STEM activities as part of science. And so my research has been looking at how districts are responding to this STEM influence and how it's changing teaching practices. So I've been out watching districts and watching classrooms. And before STEM came onto the landscape, about 70% of the classrooms that I was in, I could see a recognizable science concept being taught. And by science concept, I mean they were learning something about physics or chemistry, biology, geology, or astronomy. And what was really interesting about this is that after STEM came into the landscape, science started disappearing really quickly. 70% of the classrooms after STEM were now teaching things like they were having kids make pinball machines out of cardboard. They were doing Connects kits. They were doing Legos and other construction tasks. Sometimes they were asked to work on refining airplanes to see if they could get them to fly farther. And kids were engaged in trial and error and tinkering in these kinds of activities. What was most disturbing about this is that in not one of these classrooms that I observed was a recognizable science concept being taught. And yet the teachers were telling me that this was a STEM activity. So the STEM didn't include the S. And worse, they didn't notice that it didn't include the S. They thought that this met the requirements for science. And so we're seeing that 19 minutes is falling fast and in many cases has dropped to 0. All of this is particularly important when we consider that over 60% of scientists made the decision to pursue a science career before age 11. So we really need to get science put back into those elementary years. All of us, I think, depend on it. Thank you.